Alright, I figured it's time that I actually did a video about my car and not a video of the exhaust or one or two items. A complete basic walk around on this car. I've owned this 500E for quite a long time now, probably pushing 10 years. Done quite a bit to it. You can see the profile view here. This is a 1993 500E 124 chassis. And you can see in the back here my black impact strips are painted body color. The car is lowered on H&R sport springs. Drops the car about inch and a half, 2 inches, give or take. So you can see how it sits. The wheels are an AMG two-piece wheel, monoblock wheel. They were optional on the SL600, the R129. 18 by 10 in the rear, 18 by 8.5 in the front, with a plus 25mm offset. So they are a very, very optimal fit for the 500E because of the flared fenders. This allows me to run a 275 35 18 tire in the back. I'll come around to the back of the car. If you've seen my previous videos, you've seen the video where we listen to the exhaust. I'm not going to do that in this video. You can look at my other videos if you want to hear the exhaust. On the back of the car here, you can see I've debadged the car. There's no emblems except for the Mercedes star. The trunk handlebar, which is normally black, I've painted body color. And of course the bumper impact strip is body color. The taillights are a LED taillight. They are an aftermarket product. Probably the only non-Mercedes-Benz item on this car, parts-wise. I did have the 94-95 style taillights on it, and I switched to these because these are very bright. These remind me of like the Cadillac CTS taillights, really bright LED taillights, so I like that. They are, well, in my opinion, they're not really ricey looking, not like some aftermarket Mercedes parts, mainly because these are styled after the factory taillights. They just look a little bit more modern. Some people don't like these, I do. I'll pop the trunk, but only to discuss the triangle. I've got a bunch of junk in the trunk here. The US spec cars didn't come with the safety triangles. This triangle I had shipped from Europe. And to install this, you need to take out your trunk liner, and you've got to cut some holes in it for the feet of the safety triangle. And also you've got to cut some holes for the bracket, and this bracket swivels down to release the trunk triangle. So I've added some Euro parts on this car just because, and that's one of them. So aside from that, there's nothing to look at inside the trunk. And you can see this car runs a fairly dark tint on it. The windows are down at the moment. And the 500E, of course, has the Sportline interior, so it has 4-place seating instead of 5 on the standard 300E or the E320. And if you recall from some of my other videos, the Brabus Tempomatic system, I won't go into detail on that because that's detailed in another video. But what I have right here, this is a E55 steering wheel, a W124 chassis. It's from a 1999, and it has a matching AMG airbag. So this steering wheel can be retrofitted into older model Mercedes with minor modifications. The horn contact ring off of your original steering wheel would need to be used for this type of conversion. That's assuming you have a 92-93 If you had a 94, this would be a direct bolt-on. You wouldn't have to deal with a horn contact ring. But this is a 93. Now these front wheels, these 18 by 8.5s, could actually run an 18 by 9 without any problem up front too. Now the headlights, these are correct 500E headlights, but these are European glass-lensed headlights. Now, these were a special order item out of Europe for this car. And I also added the European headlight wipers. But the European headlight wipers for the 93 are the same headlight wipers for the US spec 94, 95. So you don't have to get headlight wipers and motors out of Europe to do this type of upgrade. The vented headlight panels were blanks that I cut, modified, and painted to increase airflow into the air intake system. Probably doesn't help a whole lot, but any increased airflow is good. Side markers are standard 124 markers, the two-tone markers from the 94-95 model, and I've got super white bulbs in those. Yeah, the Euro headlights use H3 and H4, and the fog light, which is normally here, is not a fog light. It's an auxiliary high beam, since there's fog lights in the bumper. And I'm running super white bulbs in the headlight as well. Not over wattage bulbs, just a whiter bulb. And moving on to the actual engine bay, you can see I've got this is actually an Airbox from a 1992. And I have that because on the 1992 model, the Mercedes emblem is actually removable. And I wanted that so I could take it off and paint it silver. The lettering on the Airbox was hand done by myself. Quite time consuming to do that. So switching over to the 92 box allowed me to remove the emblem and paint it and put it back on. So just saved me some time. So the Airbox in the front cover is painted body color, or it's pretty close to body color. It's out of a can. It's a Krylon. It's a special Krylon paint designed for plastic. So aside from that, the only other modification inside the engine bay would be the ECU. I'm running a ECU from a 91 S500, only because it gives me the wide open throttle enrichment. So basically 7 horsepower more at wide open throttle. It's the same type of ECU the 92 500Es have. The 93 and 94 cars had a different ECU and had less horsepower, hence the 322 horsepower versus 315 horsepower for 93, 94. So that's an easy modification that you can do if you have a 93 or 94, is to get an ECU from a 91 or 92 that uses a compatible fuel injection. And heading back over to the interior, some of the wood trim has been replaced. The shifter shaft is actually out of a 202, a 1995 202 chassis, and that will bolt into this car. And what that allows you to do is to use any of the twist-on type knobs from the newer Mercedes. So once I install that shifter shaft, I can use shift knobs from the 208, the 210, any of the newer cars. That shift knob happens to be out of a G500. It's a leather and burl shift knob, and it has the Mercedes star on top and also says V8 on it, so that's appropriate for the V8 500E. You'll notice there is no ashtray in this car. I have the ashtray delete option, which is a cubby hole, and it takes a special power plug. And to run regular cigarette type plugs. There's an adapter for this, and the adapter plugs in, and then you can plug your GPS or whatever in. So this was a European option, I believe, on taxi cars, and it replaces your ashtray. And obviously I don't have the factory stereo, I have an aftermarket sound system in here. And on the front passenger seat, you'll see I have a Gloria fire extinguisher, which is the correct model for the 124 chassis, the bracket and the bucket and the carpet cover, and this is a fully charged fire extinguisher. These were standard items in Europe, but if you have a US spec car, you've got to get these items shipped over from Europe, and that's where mine came from. Mine came from Germany. I actually bought the bracket for the passenger seat so I could put the fire extinguisher on the passenger seat, because on the driver's seat, you can see I have the optional oddments box, and it's just a storage box that I believe was available on police cars in Europe. Police cars or taxis. It's no longer in production, so you can't get these oddment boxes anymore, so it's always good to have a little extra storage. So that's what I have on the driver's seat. And you can see back seat. This is the cream beige interior. Actual 500E production for the United States was, the official number was 1,505, but in reality there was 1,528 shipped to the US. Out of that number, 17 of those cars were signal red, and out of that number, 16 were signal red with cream beige. So this car right here is one of 16 shipped to the US in this color combo. I think that covers everything except for, there's a couple of other items. I have an electronic first gear start module in here, which is not something that's visible, so I can't show that. That is a programmable electronic module that makes the car start in first gear. These cars by default started in second gear. So this car starts in first gear, and it upshifts to second gear at 25 miles an hour, and I believe it upshifts from second gear to third gear a little while later. So I have some aggressive programming on my first gear start module. Also in this car, you can see right there, that is where the fader control used to be. I've replaced it with an ASR off switch. That switch controls a set of relays that is interfaced to my ASR computer. So when I flip that switch, ASR is completely disabled. It is different from the snow chain option that's up in the dash. That doesn't technically turn off ASR. It does up to a certain speed. This optional switch and the relays and the modification will turn off ASR permanently until you turn the switch back on. So I don't use it too often, but it comes in handy sometimes. Well, that's going to wrap up this video. If you've got any questions about the modifications or anything else on this car, definitely leave a comment to the video, and I'll try to answer the questions as best as I can. Now, before I sign off, I forgot to discuss the grille. You can see that this is a 93 hood and grille, but this particular grille frame came from a late model 87, 88 AMG car, and I believe that this car was built by Westmont in the US, and what they did was they took the stock grille and they de-chromed it, and they welded plates on the back of the holes for the grille emblem and the front small Mercedes emblem, and then filled them in. And then this grille was painted body color. And that car was wrecked, and I bought this grille from the wrecking yard that had the car. And I had this grille frame painted body color. So that's where this grille frame came from. And the grille is a avant-garde grille. It's a S600 grille. That's you can buy these as because these came on the S600 and they're cut down to fit the 124 chassis. This is not a cut down version. This is an aftermarket grille insert, and so it's not cut down. It's much stronger than the cut down version, and I believe I had this shipped over from Europe. So it's black with the chrome trim on it. I like this combination better than the factory grille. The factory grille is gray. I don't like the color. If I paint it black, that would work, but that particular grille to me is kind of hard to clean. This one is a lot easier to clean, so maintenance is much easier on this one. So this is what the front of the car looks like. The US spec front license plate. I also painted that license plate frame red.